My ex-wife abandoned our kids to go on a date, lied about being broke, and wasted my child support money with her boyfriend. Now I gained full custody and sued her, and she is losing everything. I, 35M, never thought I'd be in this situation. A single dad with full custody, watching my ex-wife's life crumble around her. It's not a position I ever wanted to be in, but sometimes life forces your hand. Here's how it all went down. My ex-wife and I were high school sweethearts. We got married young, had our first kid at 22, and our second 2 years later. For a while, things were good. We were young parents, sure, but we were making it work. I had a steady job in construction, and she worked part-time at a local daycare. The cracks started to show about 3 years ago. She became distant, always on her phone, going out with friends more often. I tried to talk to her about it, but she'd brush me off, saying I was being paranoid. Looking back, I should have seen the signs. It all came to a head one Friday night. I was working late, trying to finish up a big project. She was supposed to be home with the kids, Lily and Jake. Around 9 p.m., I got a frantic call from Lily. Dad, we're scared. Mom left hours ago and she's not answering her phone. My blood ran cold. I rushed home to find my kids huddled on the couch, terrified. No note, no text, nothing. I called everyone I could think of, but no one had seen her. Finally, around midnight, she stumbled in, clearly drunk. The fight that followed was ugly. She admitted she'd gone on a date, saying she needed to feel young again. When I asked about the kids, she shrugged it off. They're old enough to be alone for a few hours. That was the last straw. I told her to pack her bags and leave. She didn't even argue, just grabbed some clothes and walked out. I spent the rest of the night comforting my kids, assuring them everything would be okay. The next few months were a blur of lawyers, custody hearings, and trying to keep life as normal as possible for Lily and Jake. We agreed on joint custody, with the kids staying with me during the week and her on weekends. I also agreed to pay child support, wanting to make sure the kids had everything they needed at both homes. At first, things seemed okay. The kids would come back from their moms talking about movies they'd watched or parks they'd visited. But slowly, I started noticing changes. They'd return hungry, saying Mom never had much food in the house. Lily's clothes were getting too small, but her mom never bought new ones. When I asked my ex about it, she'd always have an excuse. She lost her job, her car needed repairs, her rent went up. I'd increase the child support, dip into my savings to help out. I didn't want my kids to suffer. But something didn't add up. She always seemed to have money for new clothes and nights out. Her social media was full of pictures at restaurants and bars. I started to suspect the worst, but I didn't want to believe it. The breaking point came 6 months ago. It was Sunday night, and the kids hadn't come home. I called and texted my ex, but got no response. Finally, around 10 p.m., I drove to her apartment. I found the kids alone again, hungry and upset. Jake was running a fever, but she'd left no medicine. When I asked where their mom was, Lily handed me a note. Gone out? Be back late? There's cereal in the cupboard. I was furious. I took the kids home and called my lawyer first thing in the morning. We filed for emergency custody, citing neglect and abandonment. The court hearing was eye-opening. My ex showed up with a brand new designer bag, acting like she'd done nothing wrong. When the judge asked about the incident, she tried to lie, saying she'd only been gone for an hour. But Lily, brave girl that she is, stood up and told the truth. The judge was not impressed. He granted me temporary full custody and ordered a full investigation into my ex's finances and living situation. What we uncovered was shocking. She'd been taking the child support money and spending it on lavish dates with her boyfriend. She'd lied about losing her job. She'd quit months ago. The car repairs and rent increases were all fabrications. I was devastated, not for myself, but for my kids. They'd been neglected, lied to, and used as pawns in her selfish games. The court agreed, granting me permanent full custody. My ex was ordered to pay child support, but given her unemployment, it was a token amount. But I wasn't done. With the encouragement of my lawyer, I filed a civil suit for fraud and misuse of child support funds. It was a long shot, but I felt I had to try, for my kids' sake. The case dragged on for months. My ex tried every trick in the book, crying in court, claiming I was abusive, easily disproven, even trying to turn the kids against me. But the evidence was overwhelming. 2 weeks ago, we got the verdict. The judge ruled in our favor, ordering my ex to repay every cent of misused child support, plus damages. It's a substantial amount, one that will likely take her years to pay off. The aftermath has been surreal. My ex's boyfriend left her when he realized she was broke. She's facing eviction from her apartment. Her family, who initially sided with her, have now cut her off after learning the truth. Part of me feels guilty. I never wanted to see her suffer, despite everything she's done. She's still my kid's mother, after all. But a larger part of me feels relieved. Finally, there's justice for what my children went through. The kids have been in therapy, working through their feelings of abandonment and betrayal. It breaks my heart to see them struggling, but I'm proud of how resilient they've been. Lily's taken on a protective role with her brother, and Jake's slowly coming out of his shell again. As for me, I'm adjusting to life as a full-time single dad. It's not easy, juggling work and 2 kids, but we're making it work. I've had to lean on friends and family more than I'd like, but their support has been invaluable. My ex has tried to contact me several times since the verdict. Sometimes she's apologetic, begging for another chance. Other times she's angry, blaming me for ruining her life. I've blocked her number and instructed her to go through our lawyers if she needs to communicate about the kids. Looking back, I can see now that our marriage had been broken for a long time. Maybe if I'd paid more attention, if I'd pushed harder when I first suspected something was wrong, things wouldn't have gotten so bad. But dwelling on what ifs doesn't change anything. The hardest part in all of this has been explaining the situation to the kids. How do you tell a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old that their mother chose partying over them? That she lied and stole money meant for their care? I've tried to be as honest as possible without demonizing her, but it's a delicate balance. Lily, always the more perceptive one, figured out most of it on her own. She's angry, understandably so, and has said she doesn't want to see her mom right now. I'm not pushing her either way. She needs to process this in her own time. Jake is having a harder time. He still asks for his mom, especially at bedtime. It breaks my heart to see him so confused and hurt. We've set up a schedule where they can video chat with her once a week, supervised by me. It's not ideal, but it's the best solution we've found for now. As for my ex, I hear she's moved in with a friend and is looking for work. Part of me hopes she'll get her act together, if not for her own sake, then for the kids. They deserve to have a mother who puts them first, even if she's not their primary caregiver anymore. The money from the lawsuit is going into a trust for the kids' future. College funds, mainly, with some set aside for therapy and any other needs that might come up. I don't want to profit from this situation. My only goal is to secure my children's future. It's been a long, painful journey, but I'm cautiously optimistic about the future. The kids are settling into our new routine, doing better in school, and slowly healing from the trauma of the past year. I've started dating again, tentatively. It's strange, being back in the dating pool at 35 with 2 kids, but I'm not in any rush. My focus is on being the best dad I can be. To anyone out there dealing with a difficult co-parenting situation or suspecting misuse of child support, my advice is this. Document everything. Keep records of all communications, expenses. Don't be afraid to speak up if you think something's wrong. Your kids are counting on you to protect them. I never wanted to be in this position. I certainly never wanted to see the mother of my children brought so low. But when it came down to it, I had to put my kids first. Their safety, their well-being, their future. That's what matters most. As we move forward, I'm trying to focus on the positives. We're building a new life together. The 3 of us. It's not the family I imagined having, but it's ours. And despite everything we've been through, or maybe because of it, we're stronger than ever. The road ahead won't be easy. There will be more challenges, more difficult conversations, more tears, but we'll face them together, as a family. Because that's what we are. A family. Different from what we were before, but no less real, no less loving. To Lily and Jake, if you ever read this someday, I want you to know how proud I am of you. You've shown incredible strength and resilience through all of this. Your mom made some bad choices, but that doesn't mean she doesn't love you. And it certainly doesn't change how much I love you. We're going to be okay. More than okay. We're going to thrive. And to anyone else out there facing a similar situation, stay strong. Fight for what's right, even when it's hard. Your kids are worth it. You're worth it. It may not feel like it now, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. Keep moving forward, one day at a time. You've got this.